After years of waiting, it finally looks like The Accountant 3 is starting to build real momentum. Fans of Ben Affleck's action thriller series spent almost a decade wondering if the second movie would ever happen, but now the situation feels completely different. The Accountant 2 managed to perform well both with audiences and critics, so the people behind the franchise are sounding much more optimistic about another sequel. It still hasn't been officially announced, but all the signs are pointing in a positive direction, and it doesn't seem like fans will have to wait another 10 years this time around. The latest update comes from writer Bill Dubuque, who has been one of the biggest creative forces behind the franchise since the very beginning. Besides writing both Accountant movies, Dubuque is also known as one of the creators of Netflix's Ozark, a series that earned multiple Emmy nominations during its run. He has been involved with Christian Wolff's story from day one, so his comments about the future of the series carry a lot of weight. Even though he couldn't officially confirm that a third movie has been greenlit, he sounded extremely confident that another chapter is coming sooner rather than later. During an interview while promoting his new crime thriller series MIA, Dubuque was asked about the future of The Accountant 3. Although he avoided giving away any official announcement, he made it pretty clear that he believes Amazon MGM is interested in moving ahead with another film. According to him, the success of the second movie has given everyone involved plenty of reasons to keep the franchise going. He even joked during the conversation, keeping things light while hinting that fans shouldn't be surprised if they eventually see another Accountant movie playing in theaters. That confidence isn't really surprising, because The Accountant 2 managed to overcome a bunch of challenges before it was ever released. The first movie premiered back in 2016 and became a solid commercial success, but getting a sequel made turned into a much longer process than anyone expected. Plans for a follow-up actually started developing only months after the original film hit theaters, so many people assumed production would move quickly. But instead, the project got stuck for years, with very little progress happening behind the scenes. Originally, the plan was pretty simple. Ben Affleck would return as Christian Wolff, Bill Dubuque would write the screenplay again, Gavin O'Connor would come back to direct, and Warner Brothers would continue producing the franchise. Everything looked like it was lined up perfectly. But although the creative team was ready to continue the story, development slowed down significantly, and the project eventually entered what Hollywood often calls development hell. For years, fans kept hearing occasional updates, but nothing concrete ever happened. Because of that long silence, plenty of people started wondering whether The Accountant 2 had quietly been canceled. It almost looked like Christian Wolff's story had reached its end after only one movie, even though the original had made enough money to justify another installment. Fortunately, things eventually changed. Gavin O'Connor and Ben Affleck reportedly worked hard behind the scenes to regain control of the project, convincing Warner Brothers to allow the rights to move so the sequel could finally move forward. That decision turned out to be incredibly important because Amazon MGM stepped in alongside Warner Brothers, giving the filmmakers the opportunity they needed to finally bring the movie to audiences. The sequel also reunited several familiar faces. Jon Bernthal returned once again, continuing the story alongside Ben Affleck. J.K. Simmons also came back, as did Cynthia Addai-Robinson, helping maintain continuity with the original film. The returning cast already had chemistry together, so the sequel felt like a natural continuation instead of a complete restart, which is something longtime fans appreciated. When The Accountant 2 finally arrived in theaters during 2025, it had plenty to prove. Not only had audiences waited nearly a decade, but expectations were much higher than they had been for the original movie. Sometimes, long-delayed sequels struggle to reconnect with viewers because interest fades over time. But in this case, the movie managed to win back a bunch of fans while also attracting new audiences who had discovered the original through streaming. One of the biggest improvements came from critics. Although the first Accountant movie performed well financially, reviews were much more divided when it originally premiered. Many critics praised Ben Affleck's performance and the action sequences, but others felt the story wasn't as strong as it could have been. That left the original sitting with a rotten rating on Rotten Tomatoes, earning only a 53% score. The sequel changed that conversation in a big way. The Accountant 2 earned a certified fresh rating with a much stronger 75% approval score. That jump may not seem massive at first glance, but it represented a significant improvement in how critics viewed the franchise. The second film received much warmer reviews, so it helped strengthen confidence that the series still had room to grow instead of simply relying on returning fans. Financially, the movie also delivered respectable results. It earned approximately $103.3 million worldwide against an estimated production budget of $80 million. Although that wasn't quite as impressive as the first film relative to its budget, it still represented a solid performance. Movie studios don't only look at raw box office numbers anymore, because streaming value, digital rentals, and long-term audience engagement also play important roles when deciding whether to continue a franchise. That's exactly why Build-A-Book sounds optimistic. The second movie proved there is still strong interest in Christian Wolff's world, so another sequel becomes much easier to justify. Even though an official green light hasn't arrived yet, the success of the previous installment gives Amazon MGM plenty of reasons to continue investing in the franchise. Director Gavin O'Connor has also made it clear over the years that he never viewed The Accountant as only a two-film series. Instead, he has consistently talked about telling a trilogy at the very least. That idea has remained surprisingly consistent even while the second movie spent years waiting to get made. So now that audiences have finally seen the sequel, attention naturally shifts toward completing that original vision. Back when The Accountant 2 premiered during the 2025 South by Southwest Film Festival, O'Connor spoke openly about the future of the franchise. He explained that he didn't expect the third movie to experience another decade-long delay. Instead, he sounded hopeful that development would move much faster this time because the hardest part getting the sequel made had already been accomplished. O'Connor even shared some interesting creative ideas for where the story could go next. Rather than simply repeating the formula from the previous films, he mentioned the possibility of turning The Accountant 3 into more of a buddy road trip adventure. That concept could allow Christian Wolff and Braxton to spend much more time together, giving audiences another chance to enjoy the entertaining dynamic between Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal that became one of the sequel's biggest highlights. Another exciting possibility involves the return of Anna Kendrick. Fans noticed that her character, Dana Cummings, didn't appear in The Accountant 2, even though she played an important role in the original movie. O'Connor has already expressed interest in bringing her back for the third installment, which would reconnect another important piece of Christian's personal story. Her absence stood out to many viewers, so her return could add another emotional layer to the next chapter. The ending of The Accountant 2 also leaves several storylines unresolved. Making a third movie feels like a natural next step. Instead of wrapping everything up completely, the sequel intentionally leaves a bunch of possibilities open for future stories. That gives the writers flexibility because they aren't locked into only one direction moving forward. Whether they focus on Christian's relationships, new investigations, or deeper criminal conspiracies, there are already enough loose threads to build another compelling story. Of course, there are still business decisions that need to be made before cameras start rolling. Although the sequel performed well, its larger production budget means Amazon MGM will likely spend time figuring out the smartest financial strategy before officially approving another movie. Studios always examine costs, streaming performance, international revenue, and audience demand before making major investments, so taking a little extra time behind the scenes isn't unusual. Even so, the overall picture looks encouraging. The franchise has improved critically, and it has maintained a loyal fan base and continued generating respectable box office numbers, so there is far more confidence surrounding The Accountant 3 than there ever was after the first movie. Instead of wondering whether another sequel will happen at all, the conversation has shifted toward when production might actually begin. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.